Welcome to the first segment in the series I am calling Pope Snowflake, about the numerous papal temper tantrums over secularism and liberal society. Our first episode looks at Gregory XVI, Pope from 1831 to 46, who was known for his stubborn anti-modernist attitude and lighting the fuse for the 1848 rebellion, which led to the creation of the short-lived Roman Republic of 1849. Gregory was a compromise choice after the leading contender for the position, who had been the nuncio to Spain, had his standing vetoed by the king of that country after exercising his right of jus exclusivae, right of exclusion, over a cardinal. Once again, despite claims of Vatican independence and supremacy over secular states, the conclave had bowed to political pressure from the real world. Support swung behind Gregory's election when news reached Rome that a revolt was brewing in the northern areas of the Papal States. In 1832, Gregory issued his first encyclical, Mirari Vos, grumbling that its release was delayed by the secular insurrection the previous year, caused by the insolent and factious men who endeavored to raise the standard of treason. Eventually, we had to use our God-given authority to restrain the great obstinacy of these men with the rod. Gregory set a tone of complaining about modernist advances, which many of his successors also repeatedly whined about as papal authority increasingly waned. Gregory, as with his successors, criticized science, education, democracy, liberal values, freedom of thought, and any other area which challenged their God-given authority. Gregory's last sentence in this citation indicates a rather obtuse understanding of the recent events of his time, such as the secular American and French republics, which had been created deliberately without a state religion. Indeed, peruse any biography of Gregory, and most will mention how clueless and insulated he was about European politics. Perhaps Gregory thought that these experiments in secular republics would fail in due time, and states would return to the divinely mandated medieval order. Gregory next disparaged another element plaguing the Church, one which made it into his subtitle of the encyclical, indifferentism, the idea that it made no matter which denomination the faithful subscribed to, it was indifferent to their salvation so long as they believed. Related to indifferentism was people's freedom of conscience to choose their own path, both ideas Gregory savaged. Freedom of opinion and speech, God forbid these cherished secular ideals be allowed in his domain. Staying true to form, Gregory continued by affirming the Church's long-held policy that ignorance is bliss by condemning freedom of the press, reasserting the index of prohibited books, and then attacking those who would attack said censorship. Gregory then went on to denounce secular advocates who sought to remove the Church from governing, ironically mocking them as lovers of liberty. In keeping with this reactionary mode, one of Gregory's most inane and stubborn attitudes against modernization was reflected in his refusal to allow a railway to be built in the Papal States. It was not just modernization that Gregory feared with the railroad, but that increased commerce would strengthen the merchant class and bring more ideas of independence. This fear was so great that Gregory was said to have referred to the railroad, playing on the French name of chemin de fer, or iron road, as chemin d'enfer, the road to hell. Gregory did do a few noteworthy positive things, such as dropping Galileo from the index of prohibited books in 1835, and in 1839 issuing a papal bull in Supremo Apostolatus against the Atlantic slave trade. However, by the time of his death in 1846, he was the most hated pope for 2 centuries, whose passing sparked either indifference or joy from the Romans, certainly not the grief normally expressed by Catholics at the death of a pontiff. Throughout Gregory's papacy, the Republican uprisings continued, as did the Vatican's repressive tactics, which included imposing martial law in places and executions of the rebels. Gregory's mentality was ill-equipped to handle the fast-changing state of affairs in 19th century Europe, and his dogmatic and reactionary attitude only served to increase the anti-clerical sentiments in the Papal States. If you like my content, please like and subscribe to get notified of new videos. Please also consider supporting my work by becoming a Patreon sponsor. You can also find me on the following platforms: